All right, guys. Look, check this out. I had to make this emergency video. Everybody's heard the news. If you haven't, Alex Hormozi just bought this platform called Skool.
Right, team. Alex Hormozi has just announced that he has made the biggest investment of his life.
This move, without a doubt, just changed online business forever and is potentially going to make this man a billionaire and has the potential to also make you rich.
This guy, who I'm sure you know, a week ago invested a lot of money into Skool to help it grow, and he now has a stake in it, and he has an incentive to make this thing explode.
This is the biggest sign that you need to buckle up and take action, or you're going to miss out on the greatest opportunity of our generation.
What is Skool? Skool is an education platform where you can host things like courses. It also has a community component attached to it. And if you ever want to start a course, whether that's a low ticket course, even a free group, a high ticket program where you're actually doing like some type of group coaching or one-on-one coaching, Skool's the go-to place. It's amazing. I use it. I highly recommend it, actually. But what we're going to see and what's going to happen is going to be a huge influx of people trying to push you guys to start Skool communities and to start these online info product businesses. And I'm here to tell you why Skool will not actually make you rich and why you should most likely avoid it. Let's get into it. For context, I run one of the biggest school groups. I think we're like number 200 ranked. We've been using Skool for 2 years. I run Home Service Academy. It's an education company. We teach people how to start house cleaning businesses and run them completely remotely from anywhere in the world. And we've built this up. We've probably had over 1,500 members in here, but the way our program works is people age out. So you have 16 weeks with us, and once your 16 weeks is up, if you don't want to re-up, then you get kicked out. So just for context, I've been using Skool for 2 whole years. I know this business inside and out, and I'm here to tell you, again, why you should avoid it. So number one, when you're starting a business, a big thing you'll see is you're going to want to start a business to exit. I'm a firm believer in that because at the very least, if you do build the business to exit, then you're going to have management and leadership in place to be able to grow the business without you. So no matter what, you'll still be collecting dividends and profits from the business. And you also want to keep that in mind because when you start to hire people and you hire employees, you want to cultivate a culture of growth where people have room to grow in an organization. Because if you're working with the people that I like to work with who are very growth oriented and always want to be improving, you have to build that culture for them. You have to build an organization for them where they can grow. And if you're just wanting to start something where you're like, oh, you know what, I'm making $20K a month, I'm cool, you're going to churn employees because you're not going to have any room for growth. And so why I don't like this business model, and I'll tell you why I still choose to do it despite not liking it. Nobody's going to tell you all this. Everybody pushes this as the best business in the world. But the reality is, guys, is it's very hard to exit because you're so dependent on the owner to make sales because most of those sales come from a personal brand most of the time. Now, they're great for cash. Don't get me wrong. You want good cash flow, you need to get your money up. It's a great business. But if you ever want to build what's called enterprise value, meaning the value of a business that someone will pay to actually purchase it, well, it's really risky for them to purchase it because if you're the one who's pushing all the content to sell things, then what happens when you sell the business and you're no longer there to make content about what you sell in your niche, and that owner buys the business and they no longer have any sales? So you see what I'm saying? It's very hard to detach yourself from the brand. And I've seen very few companies in the space do it. The only one I can really think of is Jim Launch, funny enough. But he also had Prestige Labs, which is an e-commerce company, rolled into it. Very rarely do you ever see these businesses actually sell. So it's something to keep in mind, right? It's very difficult to do. Unlike other industries like, say, home services, where you see, $1 million acquisitions, tens of $1 million acquisitions, $100 million acquisitions all the time. You don't see that here. Another thing is the competition, especially now that Alex has bought Skool and they're going to be pushing it and doing these competitions. Something you got to think about is you're going to be competing against the best marketers in the world. You're going to be competing against people who've been doing this for years, especially when you have the Skool games coming out and they're giving out prizes and things like that. And because there's really steep competition, well, guess what? If you don't want sales from your personal brand, another primary acquisition channel that a lot of these companies will use is going to be paid media, things like Facebook ads, things like YouTube ads. And the problem with this is with the influx of people coming in the industry and the low barrier to entry that these businesses have, you're going to see ad costs continue to rise. Now, I can tell you ad costs are only going to get higher and higher. Just it happens with any platform. It's happened with Facebook, it's happened with YouTube. They're going to continue to get more and more expensive to buy the same leads everyone's competing for. And like I've got a content team, we've got editors in-house, and we're able to pump out content. We're able to test creatives, switch creatives. This is the stuff that you're competing against. It's very, very difficult starting out at the beginning to run ads profitably, not to even mention if you can't even close or you don't know how to sell the leads, because that's a whole skill in itself. Another thing too is compliance. You probably seen ads of people claiming the world, I guarantee $10,000 in 30 days, 60 days, whatever. Well, you'll start to see the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, start to crack down on these companies. It's already been happening with some of the most well-known people in the space who I know for a fact aren't doing any wrong by anyone, but the FTC is just choosing to crack down on this industry. So you got to be really, really careful with the claims you're making on your ads. And on top of that, because you're coming in with the mentality of like, oh, hey, maybe I should start to be compliant. Well, your competition's not really compliant, and you're going to start to see people jump in and out of this industry. They might come in and say, I'm going to build this community and this program around Airbnb arbitrage, and the spark and the excitement of it kind of fizzles out after a year. Then you see them jump to something like AI automation, something completely random. It's because that's what happens. You start off really hot, you grow it really quick, and then it fizzles out, and then you hop to the new thing. And you do it by not being compliant. So it's going to be a lot harder for you to run ads on something where you actually have to get creative with the angles you're running and you're testing. So it's very, very difficult. Another thing, LTV to CAC, lifetime value to customer acquisition cost. Most people in this industry will sell packages, right? My program costs, not mine personally, but let's say my program costs $5,000. Well, I can run ads, I can sell something for $5,000, but it might cost me $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 to acquire that customer. Now, what happens if when you want to hire a salesperson? Okay, well, now you have to pay commission. You want to get an appointment setter in there and a closer, let's say. Well, you got to pay commissions to the appointment setter. You got to pay commissions to the closer. That's all going to add into your customer acquisition costs, not to mention your CPA. Your CPA is your cost per acquisition, which you actually pay on the ad. Your CAC is going to be your CPA plus everything that you pay to your employee that costs you money for selling the actual deal, right? So you're going to have a high CACs, going back to what I said, because you're competing against the best marketers in the world, and you're going to have to spend more to acquire people, right? So high CACs, and then it's hard to build LTV, right? Because if you're not actually good at what you do and you don't do the job well, people aren't going to buy more stuff from you. So it's hard to build the lifetime value. You're going to have to do a really, really good job of fulfilling and delivering on whatever promises you're making in those ads, because you want to extend the LTV, the lifetime value of your customer. You want them to spend more money with you because you already paid so much to acquire them. So if you don't have a way to get recurring revenue, or you don't have a way to ascend the customer, meaning, for example, we have Home Service Academy, we sell to someone, we make them a bunch of money with house cleaning, and then we ascend them to what we call Accelerator. We actually help them grow and scale into $1 million cleaning business. Now, I don't know what you sell or what you're thinking about selling, but if you don't have a solid way of converting those customers to recurring or ascending them to a higher ticket package, then you're just going to be stuck in a constant hamster wheel of selling. And especially when you start to get a team under your belt and you start to have, $50,000, $100,000 a month in payroll, you're going to be stuck in this constant hamster wheel of selling. And it can be very, very difficult to get out of. And it can be really stressful. So to end it all off, guys, don't be fooled by all these cats telling you that info is the best business, because I promise you it's not. It's easy to get going and it's hard to maintain. And the reason I'm still doing an info business despite making this video is because I spent the last 2 years building this. We have an amazing team, amazing fulfillment. We have an ascension process, like I said. Our CAC to LTV is great. And we've built out a massive distribution of cleaning companies that we've helped create. And so there's a lot of things we can do with that now. We can build a software. to increase the enterprise value. We can start our own chain of cleaning companies. We can hold events, right? Right now, we're just stepping into more B2B consulting, where we're taking Accelerator, our backend product, and selling it directly to cleaning companies, because we know what we do at Accelerator works. And that's a really, really expensive package. So we can spend money on ads and do outbound with our sales team on that product and have really, really low CAC still, but high LTV. So that being said, hope this was helpful. Don't get fooled. Again, please. It's easy to start, hard to maintain. Hope this helps, guys. If you haven't, hit subscribe, hit like. If you're watching this somewhere else, share the video. See you in the next one. Peace.